Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, and I am super excited to share with you today these 3 masculine cards using the awesome new World of Good suite from the 2020-2021 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalogue. Now, this suite is, well, when I saw it in the catalog, I absolutely fell in love with it. I love the travel theme. I also love the masculine color scheme. Now, it didn't hurt that the photo layouts that they used are from Greece, which is where we traveled on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip last summer. In fact, these photos are from someone's Stampin' Up! Incentive trip. So it was an amazing trip, and having these photos in the layouts just made me need it even more. Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for joining me today. So we are going to make 3 cards today using this suite. I wanted to showcase the DSP and some of the awesome embellishments that come with it. So let's get right to it. These are the 3 cards we're going to make. Before we start stamping, I'm going to show you the bundle. So in every suite, we have a sort of a centerpiece of the suite, and it's usually a bundle. So here we have our stamp set, beautiful sentiments with a great font and wonderful sort of vintage images. And then we have the coordinating dies. So just like Stampin' Up! is apt to do lately, we have dies that cut out some of the stamped images, and then we also have dies that cut shapes, or in the case of these 2, add texture. And I'm going to use both of those today so you get to see what they look like. So it is an awesome set and made more awesome by all the coordinating products. So while people are joining, I'm just going to get my iPad going here so I can see who is watching with me. I got to update my page, refresh my page. Who's here? Let's see, if you're watching, give me a little hello or a shout out so I can see that you are watching. There we go. All right, who's here? Oh, so we've got Cheryl and Gail. Well, thanks for joining me, you guys. And hopefully a few more will join us, and if not, they'll catch it on the replay. All right, so we are going to start with this card today. I designed this thinking it would make a great graduation card. So Adventure Awaits is what is on the front, and then on the inside, I did congratulations on this new beginning. So I think this would make a great graduation or even retirement card. As a teacher, this is the time of year when some of my colleagues are hanging it up for a career and calling it a career. And so I often am in need of retirement cards at this time of year. So I thought that would be a great one. So let's get to it. I'll show you how I did it. Hi, Debbie. How are you? I'm going to start with a label. This is cut using the new Tasteful labels dies. This is my new go-to set. Not part of this suite, but this die set works with every suite. So you're going to see me using it a lot over the next couple months. So I cut this from very vanilla cardstock, and you can see, I hope, you can see that there is an embossed edge around the edge. So it die cuts and embosses this die. And I'm going to use some early Espresso ink and my Adventure Awaits sentiment from the World of Good stamp set. Make sure this is fully inked. And we're going to stamp that. I'm just going to move it down a little bit so I can see what I'm doing here. We're going to stamp that in the middle, maybe a little bit towards the left on that label. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in one of my new in-color ink pads. These just came yesterday. I am very excited. They are awesome. Love this blue. It is a great blue, and I love that it's part of this suite. So I'm going to stamp the compass image. Just make sure I get north going semi-north. And before I stamp it, I'm going to stamp off. So I'm going to stamp once on my grid paper because I just want a nice faded image to add so I don't take away from my sentiment too much. Okay, and that's all the stamping on this card. All the other work is done by the awesome DSP and die cuts. So we're going to build our elements. So here I have one of the die cut globes. Now I need to poke out some bits. I forgot to bring my take your pick over, so I'm going to use the tip of my scissors and get rid of these little guys here. Who else is watching? Oh, we've got Deb. Hey Deb, how are ya? And hey Bonnie, how is it as hot up where you are as it is here? It is very, very hot here today. They are calling for some serious thunderstorms tomorrow as a cold front comes in. So Tomorrow I have to be at work. I have to go into school and start my year-end cleanup. Of course, in full PPE, which will make it even hotter. We don't have AC at my school, so it's going to be a very uncomfortable morning. I'm hoping to get in really early and get as much done as I can before it gets too hot. All right, so I'm adding just a little touch of Tombow to the back of my die cut globe. Now I should mention these are cut from the new brass foil sheets. These are awesome. I love, love, love the brass foil sheets. So I'm layering this on a circle. This is cut using the same die set. Let me just grab the die so I can show you. So I cut the blue using this die, okay, and then my globe, which one did I do? I did this one. So again, cut from the brass foil sheets. So I've just layered that with a little bit of Tombow, okay, and then I'm gonna bring in some of the awesome DSP in this suite. So this cinnamon cider layer, I'm actually gonna flip it, so it's not gonna be exactly the same as on my original. My this is a 12 by 12 square that has concentric circles on it. So I'm going to use a different section. So it's going to be oriented a little different. I love this color combo too, Deb. So we have cinnamon cider, and then we have this map. It's cinnamon cider with brass foil, and it's just amazing. So we're going to go ahead and glue that onto our DSP piece. Oh, I should pull out my new adhesive. I gotta set my Tombow aside and show you guys my new Stampin' Seal. I will do that on the next layer. So we're gonna put this one on and get it nice and straight using our grid lines to help us, making sure that it is straight. Okay, and then, so did I mention the size of this? This is 5 1/4 by 4, okay? And then this strip is 2 by 4. All right, and then here I have a piece of Misty Moonlight that is cut to 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, so 1/8 of an inch larger than my DSP panel. Okay, all right, now let me introduce you to Stampin' Seal. This is the new, well, one of the two, or actually one of 3 new adhesives to add to our adhesive lineup. And what, there was 7 inches of snow in Salt Lake City, Debbie? Better them than us is all I can say. Okay, so first of all, I should mention the case. It is very comfortable to hold. Let me put my cap back on here. I got it upside down. There we go. So it has these grips at the bottom and a spot for your finger to grip at the top. Okay, so it's really comfortable to hold in your hand. Works whether you are left-handed or right-handed. Okay, so it's really ergonomically friendly. Has a cover so that when you have it in your craft bag or in your storage, you don't end up with things stuck to the adhesive here. Okay. You may have to advance the adhesive to start. Okay. Just you'll get it to feel sticky there. All right. So then it is literally like there is very light touch required. You do not have to press. Okay. And it just runs like a dream. I am loving this adhesive. Very similar in strength to Fast Fuse. I know this was advertised as a replacement for snail, but it is way stronger than snail. Okay, like way stronger. Oh, we've got Jamie. Oh, everybody's finding me. Hi, Elaine Cormier from Manitoba. Thanks for joining. Hi, Julie and Laura. All right, so there is my layered DSP and cardstock. Now I need to talk to you about this beautiful element for a minute. This is actually not part of the suite. It is part of the many Medallions dies. Now these dies, they are fantastic dies on their own, but I love them as for adding elements to various suites. I've used them with the Flowers for Every Season suite, and now I'm using it with the what's this one called? I just had a brain fart. World of Good. There we go. So I have die cut this from some more of that brass foil, and I just think it makes an awesome alternative to ribbon, right? If you want a horizontal element on your card and you want some texture, this die cut is exactly what you need, and it is exactly the right length for a card front. So to glue this down, I'm just going to put little dabs of Tombow in the center of each one of these little medallions here, and get rid of that little bit. And we're going to pop this on, I don't know, probably 1.5 1.25-ish up from the bottom. Okay. And again, because I'm using Tombow, I have a little bit of wiggle time to get it exactly where I want it. All right. Yesterday, 7 inches of snow in Salt Lake City. That has to be in the mountains, Debbie. It has to be. Don't tell me it's in like Salt Lake City downtown. It's got to be in the mountains. Okay, so there is my card front. Now we're going to add our elements. So here's my stamped label. I'm going to add my globe. I like to do it at a little bit of a tilt. So I'm going to put just a little bit of adhesive on the end of my label. And then I'm going to add my globe just like that. Okay. And then that is going to get put onto the front of my card with some dimensionals. Oh no, I just lost my glue dots. They fell in behind my desk. Hope I don't need glue dots on it for anything. I'll have to grab them from my other desk, because I'm not crawling under the desk right now to get them. All right, so we're going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of this. And we're going to pop this onto the front of our panel here. And I did it so that I didn't want to cover too much of this, so I just kind of did it so it's overlapping a little bit, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I was seeing that beautiful medallion die cut. Okay, and then that is going to go on a cinnamon cider card base. Okay, so this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're going to fold that in half along our score line and crisp it up with our bone folder, and then we're going to use some of this magical new Stampin' Seal. Oh, make sure that that's advanced. And we're going to pop that onto the front of our card. Just like that. Isn't that fun? Now, I'm not going to take the time, but I'm going to show you the inside of this. I showed you earlier. So I said I stamped a congratulations on this new beginning sentiment. And then I stamped a few more of the images from what's the name of the stamp set? Beautiful World. Holy cow. Can you tell I've been in video conferences all day? My brain is mush. I left a video conference 5 minutes before it was over to get down here to do my video for you guys. It's just been one of those days. And yes, Leith, we are in the middle of reno craziness. My husband, we are doing a kitchen refresh, not a full tear out, but enough to mean I have no kitchen right now. And my husband got called back to work. So it's kind of at a standstill. Today we had countertops and a new dishwasher delivered. So yeah, it's been a crazy day. In the midst of all this, I'm trying to have video conferences and still do my distance teaching. So it's been interesting, to say the least. But I'm not complaining because I'm employed. I know many people are not. So whatevs, we'll get through it. All right, we are moving on. I clean this one and this one. I do need this one again. Get that out of the way. I should not have put the card in there. All right, I am good to go. I think I need to keep this one. Okay, we're moving on to this one. This was one I made for a swap that I participated in recently. Again, really showcases the awesome DSP and how easy it is to bring in elements from other die sets and suites to work with this particular suite. So I'm going to show you how we start. So this is another piece of the DSP. It's got beautiful foil on the back, but I love this sort of faded paper look of this side. So that's the side that I chose to use. And then here I have a piece of the DSP. It's the same one that we used on the last card, but it's the reverse side that I've embossed using the Old World paper embossing folder. Now that one right now is on back order. It's coming back. It's not on back order for long. I think the end of the month is when it's due in. But it is so cool because this feels now like a topographical map. Okay, it's got some great texture going. So what I'm going to do with this is actually tear this bottom edge, and I actually tore the wrong way. I want to tear away from me, and that is so, do you see how I started tearing towards me and I got that white edge? I don't want that white edge. If I tear away from me, the white edge is on the other side. Okay, that's just a little paper tearing trick for you. So I'm going to put this onto my DSP panel, and I'm going to kind of glue it a little bit cockeyed this way. So I want to make sure that I'm kind of going off the page. I'm going to cut off this excess in a minute. Okay, I'm going to glue it on right about there. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of snail, not snail, seal. I have to think about which way this is going. Okay, and literally guys, I don't have to press hardly at all with this stuff. It goes on really easily. So I'm gonna put that on there. And then here I have, did I mention this dimensions on this? This is 4 by 5 or 4 by 5 1/4. And then this one was a 3 by 5 piece that I tore, I don't know, like 1/4 of an inch off the bottom. Okay. We're no longer North America. We're just North, which is okay. We are the North, right? All right. So here I have another piece of this awesome DSP with the brass foil. So this one is 2 inches. Is it 2? No, it's not. It's not 2. It's got to be 1.5 inches. I'll double check and post the measurements afterwards. And by 4 inches. Okay. I think this is 1.5 inches by 4, but I'll double check. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to here. Oh, but I can't yet. I have to trim this off and I have to do some stamping. So we're going to get rid of this. So I'm just going to flip my piece over and take my snips and just using that edge of the paper as a guide, just cut off the excess. So we'll get rid of that. Okay, really easy. And then we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So here I have my globe stamp, okay, and a little bit of crumb cake ink. So I'm going to ink up my stamp and I'm going to stamp once sort of there and once kind of down here. Okay, just add a little extra texture to the background. Okay, now we are good to glue this strip on. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of seal. And then we are going to pop this on. Let's make sure we're straight. And it's going to go about, I don't know, 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch over. Let's do 3/4. And again, we're going to use our grid paper to get it straight. Okay. All right, we are good. Let's stamp our sentiment. So here I have another label cut using those awesome Tasteful label dies. All right, cut from Very Vanilla cardstock. And we are going to stamp our sentiment in, oh, I used basic black on my original. I'm going to use Early Espresso because I didn't bring the black over here. That's okay. So I'm going to stamp with Early Espresso ink. And we're going to stamp it right in the middle of that label. Just like that. Okay. This Early Espresso pad is in need of a re-inking. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of a compass using crumb cake, but this time I'm going to stamp off just because I don't want, again, to take away too much from that sentiment. And then, did I bring my little squiggle over? I did not. That's okay. You know what? I have it right here. We're going to use it. This little squiggle stamp is kind of fun. There's a couple of them in this set, and it's just kind of a fun little additional element to add to your designs. So I'm going to ink this up in Early Espresso, and I'm just going to stamp it down along that at the bottom of that label. Just a nice little touch to fill in some of that empty space. Hey, Donna, how are ya? All right, so next we are going to add some ribbon. Now the ribbon in this suite is absolutely awesome. It is faux suede. So it has the look and feel of suede, but it is much softer, okay? So it's totally tieable. You could do a bow quite easily. And because of the suede texture, it's not gonna slip. So your bow is gonna stay put, okay? It's quite nice ribbon for tying. But for this card, we are not gonna tie. We are going to use one of these awesome ribbon slides. So these are the embellishments that are part of the suite. So we have a side that is kind of like an embossed buckle, and then we have this one that's like ridged. So they're reversible. Okay, I'm going to use this side, and I'm just going to feed my ribbon through the slide, just like that. And I want it to be fairly close to the end. I'm going to trim the end at an angle, just like that. Okay, and then this is going to get glued on to the front of my card. So I'm going to add a glue dot. Now this is where I need my glue dots that fell behind the desk. Good thing I have another roll handy. So we're going to put a glue dot right on the end. And the challenge with this ribbon is to get it to stick. And then I'm going to put one right underneath the slide because I don't want that slide to move around. Okay, so we're going to just stick that down right about there. And then I'm gonna just trim off, I don't know, about a 1/2 inch past the edge of my panel here, and I'm gonna add another glue dot to the end here. And I realized that I didn't put any glue in this corner, so we're gonna add a little bit there so that stays put. All right, there we go. Okay, next we are going to add our die cut elements. So here I have another one of these awesome globes cut from that brass foil. Get rid of all my little bits here. This guy in the middle is always a little bit stubborn. So that one we're gonna just kind of tuck in behind our ribbon there. I don't know, about 2/3 of the way. Okay, so we're gonna add again just a little bit of glue. I like using the liquid glue so I can sort of slide it in behind. So I'm just gonna lift up my ribbon and just kind of tuck that in right about there. Okay, and then we have our die cut label. So we're gonna pop that one up with a couple of dimensionals. Hi Connie, how are ya? It is like a luggage strap, Laura. That's kind of what I was going for. It's a great look. The other thing that I thought these would be really cool for is for making, like, doing suspenders on a card. I thought that would be kind of fun. I haven't yet had time to play with that idea, but stay tuned. Whoopsie. Let's not stick that on there. Oh man. Can you tell that video conferencing basically just fries my brain? It's painful. All right, so we're gonna pop that right on there. And then I have a die cut feather. Now this die is not part of this suite. It is actually from the Nature's Thoughts dies. They're in the catalog. And I die cut it from some of this scrap from this DSP. All right, and I'm just gonna add it. I thought it was just a kind of a nice little element to add to sort of create my collage here on the front. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of Tombow and just kind of tuck that in behind and stick it down. Okay, and then last up is to glue it onto our card base. So this is an early Espresso cardstock base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll fold in half along our score line. Hi Connie Renna, how are you doing? And we're gonna add a little bit of magical seal. I don't have to hoard my fast fuse anymore. I will say I am still using up my fast fuse because why not? It's great adhesive and I still have a little bit, so I'm gonna use it until it's gone, but that's not gonna stop me from loving this seal. So we're just gonna pop that onto the front and there you go. Isn't that fun? Love it. All right, that is number 2 done. Clean up my mess a little bit here. I'm actually gonna need this little compass, so I'm gonna get rid of this stamp and we'll pop the compass back on there. And we're ready for number 3. Number 3, I love, love, love. Actually, I love all of them, but I think number 3 is my fave. I say that now. Just wait and see. I might change my mind. Stay tuned. All right, so here we go. Number 3 is this one. Now, this is kind of an over-the-top card. It's got lots going on, but I really, really love it. I was playing and I just couldn't stop adding stuff to it. So this uses 2 dies that when you get your die set, you may kind of go, what the heck is that for? So I thought I would use them on a card so you can see what they're for. So the dies that I'm talking about are these 2. Okay, so we have this one. These don't actually cut shapes. This actually cuts these little, I don't even know what to call them, lines, I guess, into your cardstock, but it doesn't actually cut out a strip. Okay, it just cuts them into the larger piece of cardstock. And then this one does sort of a debossed look on your cardstock. Okay, again, does not cut out a shape. It's just to add texture, both of these dies. So if you look here, you can see I've used that die that cuts the lines in my background panel. And then here I've created a brass element using the other die. Okay, so let's get to it. I'll show you how we do it. So here is my Mossy Meadow panel that I have cut using that die. Okay, now it's a little crooked. It's not perfectly straight, but that's okay. So it just cuts these shapes. You get these little bits that pop out, and that's what it does, okay? But the cool thing is it's going to allow whatever you have behind it show through, okay? Then here I have a piece of this awesome DSP. So this is another pattern. I love this sort of graph pattern. And again, I've embossed it using that Old World paper embossing folder. And again, we've got some great texture on here. So the other thing that I did is I tore off a strip. So this started out as a 4 by 5¼ inch piece. So for this way, it was 5¼ it was about like that. And then I tore about an inch off the bottom and ran it through with the Old World paper folder. Okay, so then that is going to get glued onto my Mossy Meadow layer, and I'm going to cover a little bit of that. And if you feel like it's covering too much, you can certainly tear a little bit more off. It's easy to take more off. It's not easy to put it back if you tear off too much, right? So I might tear off just a shade more. And again, when we're tearing, we want to tear away from us so that we get, we don't get that white layer. The white layer is on the back, so I'm just going to tear a little bit more off of here, just so we see a bit more of that die cut. There we go. That's perfect. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue that down. And again, remember how I was having issues with my fast fuse tearing the paper? If you use a really light touch with this, that does not happen. If you press too hard, it will. Okay, but a really light touch with the seal is all that is required, and it works quite nicely. So we're just going to center that top and 2 sides. Okay, and then we're going to work on our elements. So again, I did a bunch of stuff ahead of time just in the interest of time. So here is my brass element. So this is a 3/4 by, I don't know, maybe 3 inch little strip of brass foil, and I used this embossing die, actually debossing die, to add the texture. Now, I couldn't tell you what this is. I can't really even tell which way is up. I think it might be this way, but honestly, I don't think it matters all that much. So what I'm going to do is just take my snips, and I'm just going to trim around the words, just because I don't want like a perfectly finished like square edge on the end of this. I only need to do one end because the other end's going to be hidden. So we're just going to kind of do that. Okay. Then here I have a circle. Now this is actually die cut. Remember the DSP we used on the last card? Okay, the reverse side has these awesome compass images on it. So I use my layering circle dies. I think this is the second largest one. And I die cut a circle. So now I have a compass element that I can add to my card. So I'm going to lay it out for you first before we adhere anything. So this is going to kind of tuck in here like that. Okay, and then we are going to stamp our label. So here's another one of those awesome labels. And I need I've got the wrong supplies here. There we go. So I have my Life is a Beautiful Journey stamp, and we're going to ink it up with a little bit of early espresso ink. I'm going to apologize if my stomach growls during this video because I have not had lunch and I'm a little hungry. So forgive me if you hear my stomach growling. It's not a wild animal. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stamp Life's a Beautiful Journey on our label. Okay, and I'm kind of liking the fact that my ink pad needs re-inking because I like the sort of faded effect that I'm getting. Maybe I'll just leave it like that. All right, and then I'm going to bring in my Mossy Meadow and my compass stamp again, and I'm going to add just a little bit of color. So stamping off once to the corner of my label there. Okay. Now the other bit of stamping that I did on this ahead of time, just because it required a little bit of die cutting too, is to stamp the feather. So this is the feather image. It's actually a quill that you can be stamped and die cut using the dies. So I stamped it on some of that same DSP that I used on the last card, this DSP, in early espresso ink, and then die cut it out. Okay, so that along with this is going to form sort of the basis of our card like that. Okay, so then it's just a matter of assembling things. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to my little compass here, and I'm going to just have this brass element sort of sitting here and just touch it, and that's going to stick it down. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and pop that up with some dimensionals. Hi Violet, how are you? Hey Michelle, hope you're having a good day. All right, let's pop this on here. We'll do a couple more. We'll put one in the middle just for good measure. And we'll get rid of our backings. And then we're going to pop this onto here. So again, I want to keep in mind that I don't want to cover too much of this die cut element, right? And I want to make sure I see some of that. So I'm actually going to put this up just a titch higher, I think. There we go. All right. And then we have our quill and our sentiment label. So I'm going to put just a touch of adhesive in that top corner. And I'm just going to put my sentiment label down where I want it. I want my quill to be upright a little bit more, just like that. Okay, and now this is going to overlap this element that's popped, right? So I just need a little dimensional right down here in the corner. And I'm going to put a little bit more adhesive on the part that's going to overlap my popped elements. And that way everything will stay put, but it'll all lay nice and flat, just the way we like it. So we're going to put that on right about there. Okay, and then we have another little brass element. So this again is another die cut. It's a little squiggle similar to the stamp that we used, but I thought it would make a kind of a cute little element here, as if the pen has written it. So now the easiest way to glue this on would be to use some of our adhesive sheets, but of course I die cut this out before I actually thought to put the adhesive sheet on. So I'm just going to use some little teeny dabs of Tombow and hope I don't have a messy ooze, because I didn't want to waste it. Okay, just like that. So then we are going to glue this onto our card base. So here I have an early espresso card base. It is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll fold that in half along our score line. And we are going to add some of our magical adhesive. So the trick to success with this, you guys, is not to press, okay? Very light touch. And I kind of just sort of twist at the end of my stroke. So I kind of, it's not so much a check mark, it's just sort of just kind of like breaking the adhesive. And it rolls on quite nicely, I have to say. So I'm going to center this on my card base. And you're going to see, do you see how where that die cut piece is, we see that espresso sort of peeking through. Now the last element is to add some of these awesome antique photo corners. So these are an antique brass look, and just like the slides, we have they're reversible. So we have sort of an embossed side here, and then we have the ridges on this side. So you could use either one. And you can glue these on with glue dots, which is what I'm going to do, but you could also absolutely use some of the shimmery crystal effects. You could use Tombow. It'll take a little bit longer to set up, but it'll totally work with Tombow. The fine tip glue will work. You need something that's strong, okay? Actually, probably the seal would work, but it would be a little tricky to navigate. So my favorite for putting on any kind of embellishment is glue dots, because they're easy and tidy and quick. So we're just going to add one of these to each corner. So I'm just kind of lining it up with the edges all the way around. And we are almost done. Pop that on. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that fun? I like this one because it doesn't have the globe on it. I like using the other elements in this suite. So I'll show you what I did on the inside of this one. So it says, "Life's a beautiful journey. Thank you for being a part of mine." I thought this would be an awesome Father's Day card, because sometimes it's nice to not have something that says Happy Father's Day. Sometimes it's nice to write Happy Father's Day. So I thought this would be a great one for Father's Day. So there you go. I'm going to get this die out of the way before I lose it. And I'll bring back the other two cards so you can see them all together one last time. Here we go. All right, there you go. The World of Good suite. Now, on Friday, I will be back. I'm going to do some simple stamping using this suite, and I might incorporate a couple of other sort of texture stamps that I absolutely love. And yeah, we'll have some fun. So I'll be live again Friday evening at 7:30. So I hope you join me. In the meantime, have a fantastic week. Stay cool if you're in Southern Ontario. It is a hot one out there. And I will see you again on Friday for another live episode. Have a great week, you guys.